So, Mr. Puro Clean.
What's up, Andrew? How's it going, man?
It's going. Technology is still getting the best of me today, but we will persevere. Let me turn up my sound here. Oh, there we go. All right. What's up, people? We're late. A little late. I'm late. This is the Restoration Rebel Roundtable. We're just going to get right into it. This is the 6th of what is this? September 6th, 2023. And here are the commitments. Number 1, I will protect and value my services. Number 2, I will practice incredible transparency. Number 3, I do not believe in competition. Number 4, I'm willing to walk away from any project, client, or contract that's not compatible with my values and stated mission. There we go. We're in it. We're in it. Looks like I'm a homeless person today, and I feel homeless. I feel a little bit out of sorts today. Joe, you getting your audio visual going here? What's going on?
What are you talking about?
You hadn't said anything yet. Couldn't hear you.
Oh, I'm just deep in thought. It makes my head hurt.
We got Mr. Sean Ivory sitting in the Facebook group saying hi. We'll get this Michael Bolin in here. Had an interesting conversation today with a client who we were talking about third-party reviews and State Farm. And he said, when you find that schoolyard bully, what you got to do is find a way sooner rather than later to punch him square in the nose. And once you punch that bully in the nose, they will not bother you again because they are full of it. They are not really that strong. They're just bullies. So I said, you're right, man. I've got 3 files right now that I'm handling as a PA. I am pushing hard to go to trial. I want these adjusters to get pulled into depositions and trials. I want State Farm to be pulled into a trial. And that's my way of punching them in the nose. Because the next time after these three claims settle out, the next time they see my name on a file, they're going to think twice before they pull some shenanigans. So good for my client for punching the bully in the nose, and I'm going to do my part. Of course, Joe, you don't have to punch very many adjusters in the nose. You get along with everybody.
Well, I like to think I do. I mean, some of them might tell you I don't, but I try my best to, that's for sure. I mean, like I said, I'm just one of the, I'm a big fan of trying to not compromise where it's going to hurt you, but at least, try to resolve in a way that's going to make it where it's, I understand everyone has to take something off because at times, because that's their job, is to try to get you to do it. But if you play the game the right way and you write your defense the right way and stuff, you can get them a lot of times to back down on you. And it's one of the hardest things really for anybody to learn to do, is that, because it's hard to be successful at justifying your actions really well at times, and it can be very frustrating for a lot of people. Yeah,
he this client also, he put 10 and 10 on mitigation and used a custom price list. But the adjuster said, well, first thing I have a problem with is overhead and profit on mitigation. He said, and my client said, well, if I take off the 10 and 10, will you pay this bill? He said, absolutely. And he did. So to Joe's point, play the damn game. Play the stupid game. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. But, they're the ones forcing us to do it. So I don't have a problem building in plenty of margin via a price list, then adding 10 and 10 just as a token softball out there for adjusters to feel like they're winning. Yeah, you can take that 20%. Go ahead.
They don't chase that carrot.
Don't chase that calf? Is that what you said?
Get them to chase that carrot while you're pulling up the trick on the other side.
There you go. Exactly.
Well,
Don't
and
look
it's like I tell
don't
everybody,
look at the
I
other
mean,
guy.
we're the professionals and we know what needs done. And if you can come in there with not being arrogant, but with confidence and be ready to answer any questions, because you should be able to already, if you're in this industry for any period of time, you should already kind of know what they're going to kind of come at you on.
Mm-hmm.
If you come in there ready to go and ready to talk about it, you're going to get so much better traction than when you are just acting like you're completely, I have to talk to the project manager. I don't know, like you should know if you're going to write an estimate, you should know how to defend your estimate.
You should know. You should definitely know.
And I think Milton here is learning that trick all too well, especially with having to do TPA work and all that. If you know what you're talking about and you know how to articulate it the right way, they will just roll over on you, because he's done that to like the last 3 or 4 jobs of his.
Yeah, and when they come at you, State Farm is notorious for their comp bid or their comparative mitigation estimate. End of the day, they pay it. Time and again, I've seen it. They come with their comp, they pay their comp, and then they try to stall out. But as soon as you file that complaint with the insurance department or you file suit, they pay it. They pay it all day long. Same with Safeco. I got a check right here. This check right here. Safeco saw the error of their ways and paid the balance right up to where we made a demand right up front, and then they tried to stall it out. But in the end, they paid it.
Wash your hair.
Andrew, I just muted you because it sounded like there was something else going on in the background there. So I'm coming off a pretty long week last week, ending with 2 days of Xactimate training. Joe, I'm glad you were there to pick up the pieces when I had technology failures. I'm not sure. I'm glad you got some positive feedback. I wasn't so stoked on my performance those 2 days.
That's why, like, I'm doing my little crash course training, or my little Xactimate crash course, like person, not doing the billing stuff and all you stuff, just like actual usage. I'm doing it as a soft launch on a Saturday at like 9 a.m. when I know West Coast won't be there. I'll just have a few people there. I'll see how it goes. And then after I get the bugs worked out, then I'm going to be like, boom, here we go. Because I could tell, like, there's a couple times where you're like, oh, shit. Like, between me and you, next time you do it, have a project that you already know everything about. Because that's just like I say with art in the TPAs, sitting there and kind of be like, like, we got to be more ready to go about the answers.
Yeah, but if you already know, it kind of defeats the purpose of doing a training. I'm of two minds about it.
Them training, yeah, maybe, but you train, you're not the one trying to be, you're trying to do the training, not be trained. Like, you should, does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, though, it was a good class and everything. And I thought, there's a lot of that picked up a lot of things that I think they're going to go forward with and all and make their lives better on it. And, that's what this is all about. What all we all do is we are trying to make everybody just be able to be more successful.
That is right. Well, I don't have a whole lot else going on. Got a couple lawsuits I'm looking forward to being a part of. Go ahead, Mr. Andrew.
All right. Do you guys know Cliff Zlotnick?
Cliff Zlotnick. He's a IAQA guy.
So
right?
You've heard of him, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been around a long time.
He's older than dirt.
Okay. Well, he's asked me to come in and do something on his podcast. Is that a good thing? I mean,
absolutely.
It sounds like he's got a pretty good thing going for a lot of years, and he doesn't know anything about business interruption, and he thought, might be a good topic. So
yeah, why not? Go for it.
That's why, guys, I don't do any training, because nobody wants to learn what I do. I'd go broke if I sold training courses.
Yeah. The problem with training Xactimate is it is such a big monster. There is so much. And what I struggle with is reducing the scope of the training enough so we can actually fit it all in and make it make sense. Because I mean, you could train on Xactimate for days and still not touch the whole thing. I mean, there's just it's really hard.
Well, and that's also, I mean, the one of the biggest issues with Xactimate is everybody trains differently. There's no uniformity, there's no policy and procedure in place for everybody to use the program the same way and understand how to use it the right way, or the way intended, I should say. And there is so many different factors that can come into play on it that it literally is like you've got to take it in chunks. That's why they break it out into level 1, 2, 3 and stuff, because
Well, even then you could break out level 2 and 3 into two and 3 more sections just to get granular enough.
Hey, I got another question.
Yeah, man.
Okay, I hear you guys talk all the time about Xactimate. And for me, it's Excel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are people that are way faster and way better at Excel. But if you don't know what you're doing, all that program does is allow you to magnify your mistake. Is Xactimate the same kind of thing?
Yes and no. It does magnify your mistake once you realize you made it, but if you don't realize you've made the mistake, it can shrink your mistake so tiny that you don't even realize. Like, that's the biggest issue with a lot of our industry is the program has so many different ways and so many different options you can set that if you're just doing the bare essential, you have no clue how much you're screwing yourself over.
Well, errors in Xactimate tend to be errors of omission.
Oh,
So
really? Okay.
you don't know, like you could have charged for 5 other additional things as part of this scope of work, and if you didn't know that, you didn't charge for them. You didn't put them in. So
Okay.
that's usually where the errors come in. I mean, there's other stuff, but it's usually leaving something out, or
So basically, you're
it's not
screwing
increasing your
yourself,
scope big
right?
enough. Say that again.
You're basically screwing yourself. You're undercharging.
Yeah, I mean, a great example, and many people always hear us talk about it, drywall. People notoriously say Xactimate underbid or is super low on drywall. I can't ever get drywall to do for what Xactimate is giving me. Well, 90% of people are tying in new drywall to old drywall, and you might only have $200 in drywall replacement, but then there's a specific line item that's for extra mudding and tape to tie in new drywall to existing drywall. And that at times can be twice as much or more of a line item value than what it was just for hanging the drywall. And people are notorious for leaving it completely off.
Yeah, and then the skim coating, the additional sealer, the primer.
I mean, a lot of people just want to do the half inch ready for paint. That's if you're doing a small patch job. Otherwise, you should be skim coating.
And if you're lazy, you're just not going to go deep enough, and that's where the problem is with Xactimate. So they're finally coming. Encircle's finally coming out with.
It is launching later this month or sometime this month.
When do
It's
we
going
get
to-
super secret backdoor access?
At the launch.
Oh,
And they're giving
now
now
you're not going
here's-
to roll it out for us? Come on.
This is what I was told, unofficially told.
Come on,
whatever, is
Encircle.
that They do not know for a fact yet if there's going to be a price increase with the floor plan to have it sent over to Xactimate or not. But for the time being, until they get it opened up or until they figure it out, they're going to go ahead and open it up and not increase the price from the $29 a scan until they get it all figured out and everybody, so everybody can kind of like play around with it and get all the bugs worked out of it ahead of time.
Well, I've just got my guy in Pakistan that takes their 2D floor plans and builds me an entire house for $10. So they better not be more than $10.
Well, like I said, the magic floor plan thing is like $29. So I mean,
Yeah.
if they
Yeah.
want to charge me an extra $10 something, I mean, it's still less than Matterports, that's for sure. But I mean,
Yeah.
I'll be interested in seeing, because I'm sure it's going to take a little extra skill to get all your ceiling heights the right way and stuff like that.
But I still think there's a use for the Matterport. I heard this a couple of times. Oh, it's gonna replace Matterport, it's gonna replace Matterport. I still have a need for Matterport regardless.
Yeah. Matterport's just, they price themselves out of certain segments of the market, but they still have a superior product.
Oh, 100%.
It's, there are still jobs that I will do a Matterport before I'll do anything else. And I've tried, like on one job, I did a Matterport and I did Hover's interior sketch thing. And, anything compared to the Matterport's product is garbage because it is that good.
Hey, I got a
Hold on.
question. Can everybody raise their hands above their head?
One of us can. I can.
Uh-huh. What about the other hand?
That's all I got. This one. This is what I got right here. That's it. Oh, yeah.
All right.
You can.
So
I don't know if
it's
you can.
not- It's
You can
not
kinda
doing
see
as
that
well.
bone sticking up right there. Ugh. God. Yeah. Hey Zach, you.
Andy, you need to
tried
call
build
your
one.
hover rep.
I need to call my Hover rep. Why?
Yeah, they're about to release their new beta mode that's going to completely push Matterport to the side 110%.
How so?
I have a phone call with them tomorrow, and then I'll call you and let you know. But based on what I know, all interior scanning is going to be completely taken care of. All I've literally got to do is spin in a circle with my phone.
Yeah, but can you go in after the fact and measure cabinet heights? And
According to them, I don't need to.
because they're going to put in. All right.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, you better call them.
I am too old to be holding my breath for that to happen. So I'll let somebody else do that.
I'm just telling you, I'll share it with you tomorrow after I talk to him. But based on the intro call I had today to get us on their beta testing, it's a little bit of a chunk of change to do it. But at the same time, if they're doing what they actually say they can do, it's going to be an unbelievable game changer for my business, brother.
Well, I already give Hover $155 a month just to have access to Xactimate sketch files on exteriors.
Their new plan that they're rolling out, you're not going to do that anymore.
Really?
Yeah, you're going to have access to a lot more
Mm.
and a lot faster.
There's one thing that just understanding from what you said, that you can just sit in the center of a room and spin around and get everything. What I love about Matterport is that you can capture evidence of contents and everything in the room. And that's one thing that's invaluable to me. I got out of having to pay for a guy claiming that we broke his refrigerator because it had a big gouge, like this big. And I just zoomed in and I walked around, zoomed in and said, what, this refrigerator that doesn't have a gouge, the day we were there and the day we left? Oh yeah, I guess I don't understand how we did it because we don't have big tools. I was like, well, sir, the day we left, the last scan, the last tool that was in that house was a tripod with a camera. And that tripod with a camera, if it caused that gouge, I would have broken my camera. So we didn't cause that.
You're not wrong, Milton. Trust me, I love Matterport for a lot of different reasons, but if it's something that can speed up my job, and I also use Company Cam, which, that captures like what you're saying, like what the actual contents look like in case you have a scratch or in case you have a ding against a wall, something silly. If you're trained right, you know what kind of photos to take. I mean, I tell people all the time, if I go and scope any job, it's 250 photos is my minimum. I'm hitting 250 photos. And that's just because, God forbid, I got to go back and look at photo number 79 that got a shot down the hallway where they're claiming that I scraped their wall on the way out. No, the hell I didn't. That wasn't there when I left. So I mean, I hear you though. Matterport's
Or-
good. Matterport,
or
and
it was
Matterport
there
will
when you
always have its
arrived.
place. Yeah, Matterport will always have its place. But if there's anything that can speed up my job as a whole, and I mean, my job's a little bit different than all of you guys now. I mean, I've developed myself into a whole different hybrid situation. So it is what it is. It's just, I think from a scoping standpoint, just getting to fast facts of measurements, especially exteriors, Hover is on its game with that.
Well, this is what I'll say is, you know, almost all insurance companies will still approve Eagle View. None of them really want to, I mean, they always want to fight you on the hovers. Now,
I've never been fought on hover.
I've
not
had a
once.
Neither
lot-
have I.
I haven't seen a lot. I'm sure there's other people that'll chime in. There's a lot of insurance companies that say we don't honor, we don't recognize hover. Or at least they have been. They've stopped recently, but it's been a while. But I mean, for the longest time they
not
were.
once.
Now that being said, though, with the new update to the Eagle View setup, now you can now request via Eagle View the roof report and a wall report both and it's a case by case situation. That's what I like because I don't do as much exterior work as I do interior work, but I do a lot of roofs. With Hover though, if you want that interior, if you want that ESX file, you have to be part of that subscription plan.
Mhm.
And I don't need another piece of my overhead because we all know no overhead, you don't need to get paid on your overhead. So, I mean, I'm really resistant. I mean, I respect the program and I love it. Don't get me wrong. The reports are great. But if I can't get the ESX file, like I'll do everything I can to do the Matterport with the Eagle View and make them match up. And now I have my exteriors from my Matterport because I'm not going to pay the subscription. Like I've got enough subscriptions already. Xactimate already rakes you over the coals.
Oh, believe me, Matterport. Oh shit! I used to have a list over here on my whiteboard. Matterport, Hover, Zoom, Streak, FreshBooks. God, on and on and on. Xactimate. I owe Xactimate about $8,000 right now. Don't tell them.
But Zach, I'm sure you're probably one of the people you can probably even say you probably are the same way. I get the Eagle View or I'll get the Hover and I'll get my Matterport scan. And I don't really even pay attention to what the paperwork says. Like I will make my roof fit my sketch because I'm using a Pro 2, which is like 98% accurate. And then I'll just, since I'm graphically sketcher, an estimator, I'll estimate based off that there. And you can't argue with my calculations SQ, but if I put in there 17.32, they're gonna, at least it up for interpretation by the adjusters when they see the files. And
Well, no,
so-
but that's also where me writing on both sides of the stream here now, like that's where the Hover deal comes in big for me, is because not only can I win for the contractors on the other side, but I can start improving the insurance game, even though it's a very small player in the market. That's where for me, I mean, Joe, last year I did 527 exterior jobs. So my Hover subscription on what they're planning on rolling out pays for itself in its sleep.
Mm-hmm. Hey, we got, we're so close. Almost 9,000 members in the group. Man, we're like cool and stuff now.
Yeah, but I will tell everybody this year, like if you're looking at the options between Eagle, or not Eagle, but like Hover, Matterport, DocuSketch, and Circle, like base it on who you're having do the work. If all of your data entry information is coming from your water techs, encircle it. Like it's easy.
Encircle.
They're not
all
going to screw it
day
up.
long.
If you're going to have if your reconstruction and your mitigation are going to be, need to be identical sketches and everything, you can't have any variances, like a lot of TPA offices, Matterport, because they can Matterport on day one, boom, you're done. You have all your measurements, you're good to go. DocuSketch.
Matterport with a 360 cam. Yeah.
And DocuSketch, it's one of those things there where I'm not a fan of DocuSketch simply because you can't hand measure within the 3D space online. And I'm just not a fan of overall the way it feels and operates as you're walking through the property. It's very stand here and spin. It doesn't feel fluid as you transition from one sketch to the other.
And
And, you know,
the fidelity is not there. The quality of the image is way inferior.
well, that's because they don't have options like a Pro 2 or 3 to use. You can only use a 360 or your iPhone. And I
But
mean,
even then, I think they degrade it. They actively degrade it because some of these DocuSketch scans I'm trying to look at are just terrible.
oh yeah. And I mean, like I said, I mean, they all their face, you know, if you're doing, you know, more than say you're doing more than say 8 jobs a month. Well, hang on, let me think here. Yeah, 4, 8. Say you're doing more than 20 jobs a month. Maybe my DocuSketch has a financial, you know, incentive for you to use them because it'll end up being a little cheaper if you're always having to
What are we
pull the true
what are we
sketches.
talking about? We just talking $50 a job difference, $100 a job difference. We're not
I
talking
guess
about.
well, it depends on if you're billing for the true sketches or not. You know, with
Well, you
us,
should be
with
doing
Ma-
that regardless.
Yeah, well, DocuSketch is part of the subscription package, so it makes it a little bit more, you know, harder to do. But I mean, like I said, I mean, they all have their places, but I mean, as long as you're documenting and everything,
What's DocuSketch cost? What's DocuSketch cost?
Last time I heard it was actually, hang on, I can tell you because I got the guy who I turned on to Matterport instead, and he told me it was you can do a $200 a month plan that'll give you the floor plan, but an ESX file is between $65 and $130.
Hmm.
And you get up to 10.
So it's unlimited use within that subscription.
It's 10 unique scans per month. And then for every new, you can have like 7 or 8 scans of the same house, but it's 10 unique properties per month. And then for each property overwards, it's like an extra like $10 in all. But then you still have.
You know, I think these software companies, I swear that they price their services by obfuscation. I can't even say the word. By just making it as confusing as possible. It's like choosing health plans, right? We're all in that time of year, right? It's that renewal or whatever new enrollment time of year. When's the last time you sat down and actually tried to compare health plans? It's impossible. There's no way to come to an apples to apples comparison on health plans. Same way with these stupid software companies. They're like, why can't you just choose a very simple approach? Like
But that's what Hover is doing, Andy. Hover is going to one
no,
rate.
because
No,
they've got a
are.
subscription I pay now, and I
They
have to pay an
do.
additional depending on what service I choose.
Yeah, but their base plan, what they're rolling out is their base plan. You'll pay a flat rate, and it's a minimal flat rate, under $80 flat rate. And it doesn't matter on the square footage of the property. That's a game changer when you compare that to your other ones that all of a sudden it's like, well, is it a commercial property? Is it a residential? Is it this many?
I just paid $400 for an Xactimate sketch on a Matterport file I did last week. So, yeah. But it's also a $100,000 loss. So,
but they're all tools. They're all, and like you just said, it's $100,000 loss. They're all tools of our trade. It's what we have at our disposal. We can bitch about them all we want to, but bottom line is you got to find what works for you. Like what Joe was saying, find what worked for you.
Yeah.
But document the fucking loss regardless.
Hey, and I will tell you this here. When we did that big commercial loss at the beginning of the year, it was $16,000 just for the true sketches because we had 6 floors and then each floor was broken into like 3 parts.
That was a monster of a loss.
And Young and Associates was the consultant on it for the carrier, and they said pay for it. And then the carrier said, well, if they're and the only reason we weren't even going to do that, we're going to do time material. We were just Matterporting for prosperity's sake. And they said, no, if you're going to Matterport the whole
we
damn
want to
thing.
own it.
We want the ESX file. We want the sketch measurements so we can put this place back together again easier. And I was like,
because guess
cool.
what? It would have taken. Oh shit.
Well, Andy's down. Man down.
I forget about my shoulder and then I try to do like make a move. Oh
No more biking for you. No
All
more
right.
biking.
So that whole facility, what would it cost them just in straight manpower to sketch that traditionally? Way more than $16,000. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine how much it would have actually been. Like it was, I mean, it was a beast, that's for damn sure.
It's amazing.
I know.
It was amazing. Well, what else you want? What else is on fire today? I'm feeling uninspired. I don't have any bones to pick.
Well, I just found out, I was talking to Joe about it before jumping on, that I didn't know this, right, new to the industry. New York State is one of those states that requires you to have a license to adjust claims. So my
Adjust
question is-
claims? Yeah,
Yes. a
New
public
York?
adjuster, independent
Oh, yeah.
adjuster.
of course.
And my question is, how are these TPAs being allowed to work in the state?
Because they work
That's
in
a-
those states primarily.
That's
It's
a great
question, but
question.
they work in those fucking states primarily.
They work where?
They work in all those big states: Texas, Florida, Louisiana, New York,
Because-
California.
Because
Fuck.
they're not negotiating with you. Negotiating means you're negotiating a price for the job.
they're
They
settling.
are,
They're offering a settlement.
they are not, they don't want to talk about numbers like whether or not the price is too high or not. They want to talk about they're trying to
Yeah,
tear your
no.
scope apart and tell you, oh, your scope is wrong and you're
Don't
not
split
good.
hairs. They're adjusting. They're
They're
adjusting. the
adjusting,
goddamn
but
thing.
they're
Oh,
not
no.
adjusting in the normal sense. They're basically saying, well, here, you came in at 42. Here's your 24. Take it or leave it. That's what
Now-
they're doing.
I gotta think that some of these companies are operating with some sort of master license agreement, or
Oh,
like
God,
a-
yeah.
like you've got a license adjuster somewhere in that organization, and that's how we're getting away with it. But then some of them, I'm sure, is just like they're daring somebody to say something,
It's just like a law firm, a big law firm. Think about it.
daring
Who
you
does
to
all
take
the
me to
legwork?
court.
Who does all the legwork? The paralegals. Does a
Yeah.
paralegal have their
Not-
nope?
No,
They can't go to court and fight it out on court. No, but they're doing all. It's the same paradox. The paralegals are doing the legwork,
Yep.
and then if they have to stick their dick out, they'll come in and do it. But otherwise, the paralegals 9 times out of 10 they're winning.
So let me ask a question here, because I think this might be going on in my portion of the claims world. When you say these guys are adjusting claims, what do you mean? Are they?
they are
Probably-
acting as an adjuster. They are
If they're
negotiating the
taking
claim.
if they're taking off line items, that's my interpretation of adjusting the claim.
Oh yeah,
Well,
they're telling you line items aren't warranted.
It's even simpler than that. It's who are they representing? They are representing the
insurance.
carrier on behalf of
Right.
the claim
Right.
It's no different. than what-
to
I
the
mean,
insured. That's it. That's what they're doing.
It's like, it's like Andy sends over the invoice to the carrier and the carrier sends it to me and says, Joe, this is what Andy wrote. Is it right or wrong? Send him an email and tell him where you think he fucked up at. And then I tell Andy, based on what the carrier wants to pay and how they want to pay, you can't pay for this, this, and this. So you need to take it off. That's what they're doing. They're not talking per true numbers in most situations. They're saying, well, carrier said they don't want to pay anything beyond the default price list, so
No.
we can't accept it. They don't want to pay for HEPA vacuuming, and you need to take that off.
And that
It's like-
goes directly to our argument. In our path, our way, the rebel way is to just fucking ghost them. Don't
Well,
give
one
them
of the-
time of day
that's what I always
because they have
encourage.
zero authority.
But I will
So-
tell you what's really funny is I've straight told a couple of them, all right, well, you want to, since you're not the adjuster and I'm not here to argue numbers, I'll turn off, zero out all the line items, but the price stays the same because you're not going to argue with me about the price of this job. You just want it to read a certain way. So I'll make it read a certain way, but the price is still the same no matter how much I change it. And
Price
then
ain't changing.
they get really shitty because then they don't know how, they can't argue with you on that. They're like,
But,
oh, that's not how this works. Yes, it is.
but my guidelines.
It's not in the training manual, Joe. It's not in the training manual.
None of
They
the
don't know how to
shit's
get to
in the
that
manual.
point.
No.
And nothing is worse than like when you did, like I had a code blue guy once. With code blue, if you're not familiar, guys, they make you get on a FaceTime video and show some dude sitting behind a desk, here's the job, and then they tell you what you're allowed to do. And I had
Is
some
that
20
what it's like being on Code Blue?
Oh God, yeah. Oh,
Yes.
God,
I've never worked for, or I've had Code Blue come after me, as not part of the program and try to dick me down, but I've never been a part of it. So this is all okay. So walk
for
us
the
through this
mitig-
shit
for a
circus.
mitigation claim, you get the call, you have to hit that you contacted the homeowner within an hour or whatever, or you get dinged and you lose points. Then you have to arrive on site within so much time, or you get dinged and you lose points. Then you get on site and you go through the whole property of the homeowner. Then you stop and you have to call them. And that can take anywhere from 20 minutes to 4 hours waiting on hold to get a hold of somebody.
Are you
then-
kidding me?
Damn God.
No.
What's happening on the job in the meantime?
You're not allowed to do nothing. You can't do nothing.
You can't do
until
shit. You can't touch shit. You can't even put any equipment out.
Code Blue will tell you, hey, well,
Is this a
is
good idea?
Code Blue will say, oh, well, you don't need to cut that wall out there. Just extract the carpet here. That's what you're supposed to do. And then when the job's all the way done, guess what? You don't even write your own estimate. You
No,
send all the
no,
information.
I do know that. They write it. They write the invoice. I did know that.
And when you've got some little 20-year-old punk that's wearing a shirt that has like a poop emoji on there and everything, and he's trying to tell me how to do my job, I'm like, get the out of here.
Well,
Now, granted, they're not bad. I mean, overall, and Zach, you can attest this, all the TPAs, horrible to work for on mitigation. They treat you like you're a roofer trying to screw a dollar out of a penny. But almost all the TPAs universally, I'll tell you this right now, on the reconstruction side of things, they're pretty laid back because they just let the desk adjuster go over it, and you can just have the desk adjuster override them real easy. Working for
it's a
TPA,
it's a different animal. Yeah.
It is.
I was just gonna say, if you're gonna work with TPAs, you better be doing it full service. You better be doing both the MIT, knowing, hey, now I'm gonna take my lumps on this, but I'm gonna get full bore profit on the reconstruction and call that a day, because you'll 80% of the time you'll get that. You will really hit that delta. But the people who want to sit in here and go, is Code Blue a good idea for mitigation claims? Like, oh, well, do you not want to make 10 and 10? Do you want to be dictated how do you do your job?
Joe,
do you want to be
left
told
out the
what
best
to do?
part. You left out the best part. Zach, do you know what the best part of Code Blue is?
You have to get work from them. You have to agree to be you have to work off the default price list, but you have to agree to only get paid a percentage below the default price list after they tell you what to do and write your estimates.
No,
That's
they
the best
write the
part.
estimate. They invoice the carrier for the estimate. The carrier pays them based on that estimate. What do you get to charge? Not that estimate.
No, because like if it's $100,
They're taking their discount on the equipment. They're not passing that discount on. They're taking that. That's straight to their bottom line. Code Blue's got to be making hundreds of millions of dollars.
and
They are, until everybody stops fucking with them.
Well, and it's just like I said. I mean, if you want to be on Code Blue and you want to get work, you have to. The more you're willing to be under default pricing, the more work they'll give you. You only want to be 10%.
That's an entire company based on the backs of restorers, just providing zero value to the process and sucking money out of restorers. There's no redeeming value to a company. That I'll tell them to their face. That is that should be illegal to form a company on insurance claims with the basis of the carrier's not paying those things. The carrier is
and then
it's all coming out of our pocket.
And then the best part is that sometimes they'll take up to 3-4 months before they finally get around to sending you your portion of the check.
Yeah.
You want to know? You want to know the cool thing, though, guys? It's on the forefront. It's very, very young in its stage, but my business is starting to see it, and we're starting to do some of this stuff and dabble in it. Now, they slow pay us, which is a pain in the dick, but it's very fair pay, so it is what it is. You stack enough of them, you just turn it over. But there are some other TPAs who are starting to try to interrupt with Code Blue, and some of these bigger TPAs who are the shit dicks, who are actually really pleasant to work with. And then they let us actually write like we're writing for contractors, and they may cut, I don't know, 4 to 6% off the top of an estimate. The contractor then goes, well, shit, that's all you're doing. And you're giving me 10 and 10, done and done. We leave the site, shake hands, and everybody's happy. So that
Yeah.
because of these assholes getting so big, there are some small disruptors. And one of them, Joe, I'll have to talk to you offline, because one of them is based in your neck of the woods that we started doing business with. They're sending us a claim every week, and it's pretty good to write with between the contractor, the insured, and everybody who's involved. It's a good deal. And,
Well,
and
this-
they're a TPA, but they're not the TPA that you think of, like when you think of Code Blue. They're not dictating you.
well,
They're
this
not
is one
laying
thing
out
also
your
that
certain
I will.
guidelines.
This is one thing I also tell everybody, that you're all going to be like, bullshit, I don't believe you. But I know for a fact from multiple people, as much as we might hate working with the TPAs, you would be amazed and astonished at how many actual adjusters on the other side hate them just as much.
Oh God, yeah.
It's like they can't, because they get dinged when a file's open too long or payment's not
Mhm.
issued, and they can't do nothing until they get it back from the TPA reviewer, and it's like, you're holding me up and cost me my bonus. I mean, I've had adjusters where I've worked with them directly and then sent it to the TPA, and they said, no, hey, me and Joe's talked about this. It's agreed to just pass it through. They
Mm.
don't read the note, and then they try to bully
It goes through
like,
audit all over again.
it goes through audit all over again. You got to be like, oh, can't you read this note? And then you got to wait another week for them to actually get around to reading it. And stuff. Like,
Right. Well,
it's a
that's
pain.
what I was getting to. Is there's some disruptors, because one of the ones we started writing for, he was a senior claims adjuster with Code Blue. He got fed the fuck up with having to kick back every fucking. He was like, this is just too much desk work, too much paperwork. This is a simple fucking job, and all we're trying to do is cut invoice, cut invoice, cut invoice. He got tired of it, and he saw the money game, and he said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go open my own thing." And he's been pretty damn successful doing it.
But
And
but
it's
what
a
is
different stream.
what's the sell? What's the sell to the carrier? What's the carrier buying when they buy TPA? Get in TPA.
Well, he's working with smaller carriers. And I think the thing, and you and Andy and I have talked about this, Joe, you and I have talked about this. The big carriers are in trouble right now. And if people can't open their eyes to that, I at this point in 2023, I can't help you. Like, I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. I can't help you open your eyes to the big carriers are literally not okay at this moment. I know everybody says, oh, they're making billions. Okay, well, that same money that's coming in is getting washed out and going right back out the back door. I mean, they're not doing real well.
This year.
Well, no, I mean,
They haven't
a
done
lot-
well for the last 4 years.
A lot of these carriers, though, I mean, you got to remember, a lot of these carriers are publicly traded. They have to show a profit, and with the way the environment's been getting and the storms are getting worse every year, it seems like they are pretty much breaking even in an accounting kind of format where they are. That's why they're getting the hell out of it.
They're fucking the little man. Then they're fucking the
No,
little
but
man.
that's-
The little man is
that's-
us in a sense.
That's exactly why they are still using company like Code Blue. Because what is Code Blue about? Code Blue is about hacking and shaving claim severity, and they do it very
Exactly.
well. And what you're talking about is a TPA that actually provides service and helps the flow, but they're not cutting claim severity in the way
No.
that Code Blue cuts claim severity. And that's what.
But who's Code Blue
especially-
part of, Andy? Code Blue is part of the big carriers.
But the carriers are going to continue to use them because they can't afford to pay the claims at face value.
Well, some
And
also
that's
that there,
why
but
they're
it's-
going to go belly the fuck up here
But you
before.
also got to
before
realize it's a
long.
really good business plan for them to use them, because I can hire more adjusters and not have to pay I can file more jobs on them. They don't touch them as much. They're overwhelmed with stuff. But I'm paying these people here to scrub through the estimates. They're only charging me a fraction because the other half of the dollar bill they're getting from the contractors choosing to do the work. So it's actually saving them money, not just on claim payout, but it's saving them money on the bottom line because they don't have to pay a bunch of people, a bunch of overtime and stuff, or because a lot of states, I mean, California, I know them for a fact. Even if you're a salary person, if you work overtime, you get paid overtime on top of your salary, and they can minimize all that by hiring it out to these people. And
Yep.
That's at the end of the day, it's not just about cutting our claims down. It's about however they can save money.
And claims expense for sure.
Yeah.
It's
So-
a whole claims
these-
expense model.
being a new guy, and learning as fast as I try to learn. Here's one thing of my observations. I do AccuServe / homebrew jobs, and where they strive in and make their bang is the new guys, and it's because it's the new guys because they don't know enough,
Hmm.
and all the
They take
old
advantage.
well that also don't know enough. They didn't take the time to learn all the ins and outs and
Mhm.
what they can't do. So they just settle. They settle for this or settle for whatever reason.
Because they don't know they can fight.
And
Well,
I'm one of them that I get into and I keep it respectful with them. And it is what it is. I know everybody has their ways. I've had sometimes where I get pissed off at them and I'll say F them but it's my reality right now. I work with them but I'm making it work. And the more and more I turn around, I just completed a year. I turn around and look at last year me. I don't know who that guy is because everything I've learned and Joe's there to witness it. Now, like my arguments are like boom, 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 written down. Respectfully, here you go. Argue back. You can't argue back, pay me my money.
Pay me my money.
And here's the thing that sucks, and I'm sure y'all are gonna give me shit when I say this because it's controversial. The idea behind the TPAs, though, the concept of what the TPAs were trying to do at the very beginning was a good idea. And in a lot of situations, more than what some of us really want to realize, they are actually they're helping protect in some aspects. It's gotten worse, obviously, but
They had a purpose once upon a time.
yeah, because like I mean, I still see them today. I've seen people in the last 3 months where they hit me up for work and stuff, and like I look at their photos and they've got a box fan and they've got like old grandma's little DHU that you're supposed to put in trying to dry houses out with it and all, and
That's
yeah, and I mean, they don't know what they're doing. And the TPAs are supposed to say, look, like you're not doing it right. Here's what you're supposed to do. Quit trying to, bullshit your way through this. Here's how it needs to be done. And it's a great concept on face value. But the problem is one is they treat everybody, TPA or not. If they can get their hands on your file, they're going to try to treat you like you're one of their vendors.
Mhm.
But it's also is that you get people like us in these groups that actually try to learn and better ourselves. Their people are not trained to argue shit with us. Their people are trained to argue with Bob and Jimmy in his truck that just started out 2 days ago.
Yep.
Milton last year. They're trained to argue with Milton last year.
Exactly what Milton just said.
Milton this year, they're like, yeah, shut up.
So do you think that all of this problem with the claims payment is the result of the fact that they failed in the underwriting? So they're trying to, because they failed in the underwriting, they're trying to make it up on the claims?
Andy, Andy, don't say no, because I can tell you right now, I signed a huge 3-year deal yesterday, and it's all because of the underwriting, brother. All because of the underwriting.
The reasons why everyone, the carriers like TPAs and cutting their checks down is because for whatever fucking reason it is, they assume that if you're sucking shit up for a living, you have a shitty job, no pun intended, and you ain't supposed to make dick worth of money. And they are hardcore set against the idea that we need to be making more money than what we've been in the past because of inflation and the cost of living going up. And they are fighting tooth and nail to figure out any way they can to keep these numbers low so they can profit from it at the end of the day.
It's a profit play. It's a profit play, and it's preserving that profit. Just think about one example: overhead and profit. All right. There was a day and time where it was a non-issue. We marked things up. We used 10 and 10. As soon as they took that away, what happened? That money stayed in their pocket. That money stayed against their balance books, right? And now fast forward 15 years, they're making that money that we used to get, and now they get
plus interest.
Plus interest. It was just a greed play. But the problem is they've run out of stuff to take away that we're willing to give them. And we've reached that point where we are not going to give them anything else, but they lack imagination of how they're going to make those continued profits because they are publicly traded. They have this artificial expectation to always be growing.
Well,
The
and the
matter
other
of
thing
fact is, I think there is a natural size and a natural profitability for a company like an insurance carrier that shouldn't be forced to always increase. There should be a stasis level, but that's not what you get in this American capitalist thing, Wall Street, on all that. We have skewed these big companies to the point where I think the only way out is for them to go bankrupt. They can't reverse at this point.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But Andy, you and I had this talk probably a month or two ago. The thing that's on the forefront that everybody, and I'm starting to see it on boards, which makes me laugh when I see people ask these questions because adjusters are telling them, hey, I need you to add depreciation to this, this claim and to these line items and this stuff. The policies are going to change vastly. And by that, I mean, policies are going to start going back to ACV policies.
Your value per premium dollar is going to plummet.
Oh, yeah.
Me
ACV
included.
policies are going to be like, you just bought a house. Cool, bro. You just bought a car and drove off the lot with it. What does that do for you?
It's gonna turn your home policy is gonna turn into a copay. And guess what? You got a 20% copay, brother.
Exactly. That's where we're headed, guys. And if we don't start to wrap our heads around that, we're going to have a bigger problem because that's a whole different part of the problem where a lot of contractors struggle. And it's something I've preached since day one, and Andy knows this: relationships. Build the relationship. Be real. Be real with people what the cost of the job is probably going to be. Be real with people based on their policy language. And I know if you're not an adjuster, you can't interpret it, but you can definitely get on a phone call and tell the adjuster, hey, can you please explain this policy to me? And they're if it's an ACV policy, they're going to tell you, hey, ACV policy, this is typically what we take off of paint, what we take off of drywall, what we take off of the interiors, what we take off of exteriors. They've all got kind of a baseline from what I've learned. And then you start to come to a lump sum as you're writing your estimate. And you can go to Mr. Homeowner and say, hey, I'm going to get this for you and I'm going to get it a win, but I'm going to need about $5,000 to $10,000 out of your pocket. And that's going to be a real hard conversation for a lot of Americans to have in their fucking conversation.
You can't even get most people to want to give you their $500,000.
Then Joe, you're going to have to fucking kindly walk off the job, and those people are going to be fucked and have to figure it out.
Oh yeah,
that's where we're heading. We are heading that direction, guys.
And
like it or not, we're heading there.
And you guys have to remember, just like a casino, they have to have the money to cover all their bets. So anytime the adjuster sets the reserve, that money gets pulled out of the stock market and everything, or wherever their hedge funds are and shit. And that money sits still and doesn't grow compounding interest and everything. Like, they want these jobs to stay small because a compounded interest on their kind of accounts they make so much more money per day just letting it sit in there. Like, that's what they're after, is keeping that money from moving around. And it is, as soon as they can get their hands even further out of the way and they can put all the blame on the homeowner, they absolutely will. That's why I rent. That's why I fucking rent every day. Like, my rent right now in Indianapolis, if I wanted to buy a $250,000, 1,500 square foot home with the 7% interest rate, I'd be paying about $1,200 to $1,400 a month for my house payment. I pay my rent, it's $1,650, but guess what? When my water heater breaks, I ain't paying for it. When my furnace goes out, they paying for it. I don't have to have that money backed up. All I got to worry about is my $50 renter's insurance policy. Like,
but that all gets into a deeper wormhole that I'm not going to go down this evening because it's already 9:25 and I'm hopping off here shortly. But it gets to a point, guys, where you're going to have to understand, because if you look at a lot of the boards, and I know all of us are on a lot of those boards, you look at the last 2 weeks and a lot of questions from folks. Has anybody ever had an adjuster tell them that we need to add depreciation values to line items? And how do you add depreciation? How do you do this? Like, it's coming, boys. It is coming.
And I tell the adjusters all the time, that's not my job. Like, you want a depreciation, you depreciate it. Well, you wrote the estimate. you're right. That's not my job though, to figure out the depreciation value of it.
It
I
is
can't-
though, Joe. It is, because guess what? Your client at the end of the day is paying that depreciation value.
No, but
My
it's not
life-
your job as a contractor to come up with
It's
that value.
not, it's not, but I'm just telling you, if you want to be a good contractor, you learn that, you train your guys on that. And guess what? When you have that real talk with the homeowner or what they're going to be out of pocket, it's going to go a lot smoother than you saying, oh, what's your deductible? $500. Cool. That's all you're out of pocket. And then you come back 3 weeks later to say, well, the adjuster just told me I have an ACV policy. And that 500 just went to about 5,500. I'm going to need that before I can get started. That's
Yeah,
a
I
harder
mean,
pill to
there's-
swallow, boys. Harder
this
pill
Once
is-
to
you have,
swallow.
once you get to $10,000 and $15,000 deductibles, it's gonna be
Well, that's
on.
like State Farm's in what, 3% of the home value now is your deductible?
Yeah, 2%, a little more. So
Yep.
we got Mr. Larson in last minute again. I think he just swoops in right at the last minute just to get the last word. I swear. It's like 2 weeks in a row. Mr. Larson,
Yeah.
how is the beautiful island of Maui?
Today it's beautiful and hot.
Oh, we lost him.
Power went out.
Cell towers in Maui are few and far between.
But yeah, remember guys, if you're not a TPA outfit and they contact you, don't even waste your time responding with a shitty email that says like, hey,
Yeah.
I recognize you. Just don't
Yeah, just
respond.
Go directly to the desk adjuster.
Yeah, they're not your client. They're not the person paying the bill.
Yeah. You guys don't
I'll
have
argue
Code Blue
that
over there, do
fact
you,
every day of the
Rob?
week.
That's like going to your doctor, going to your kids and saying, hey, do you want your dad to have the surgery or not? It ain't his choice. It's my surgery. Like, like that's the same principle, guys. Like, you don't want your kids making choices for you because them little bastards want your money. Like, don't let the TPAs come after your money.
I'm down one kidney because of my kids. I'm just kidding.
But I also feel like there's not a lot of people showing up with the tonight, not just from here, but on the chats and all, because I think a lot of people are at the experience, which I'm
Well, the
jealous about.
experiences right now. Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to go, but I just couldn't swing it.
I got more important things to do.
I'm tired of the bullshit, man. Like, we can talk about all that stuff. I keep getting fucking hit up every other day by people wanting me to come to this, come to that. It's like, what are you talking about? And then they don't have anything except a blanket to send you. It's like, okay, that's all fine and well, but can we talk about actual industry issues right now? Because we're not talking about actual industry issues. Actual industry issues get resolved on Rebels, which is why I love it. I love the
That's
platform
true.
Andy
That's
helped
true.
build, is because these are real world problems. These are real world things that everybody sees every day. And it's like, and shout out to Joe Spears. This motherfucker's been an MVP for like 2 weeks on every fucking like thread I see. I see Joe Spears replying, like multiple replies to somebody. But guess what? He's actually telling you what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
And half these people, whether they accept it, listen to it or not, thank you, Joe, for being a true rebel and actually trying to fucking help somebody. Like, good God, man. It's not,
Yeah.
it doesn't take much to help somebody.
Hey, I just developed Code Blue's mascot. That's going on
Hey.
that's going on the YouTube cover.
It's coming for you.
Code Blue, baby.
But no, yeah, as everybody knows, if y'all have a problem and you need it, and even if you're kind of nervous to ask the question in the public forum because you don't want to quote unquote look silly or whatever, hit me up, message me all day long, every day. Like, I'm usually around, and if I don't respond right away, I'll respond later. But I mean, in my mind, the only stupid question is the question you don't ask, because if you don't know something, it's never a stupid question. If you don't understand it, like, everybody starts somewhere and you got to learn. And Milton can tell you, he's asked me a few questions where I've had to sit there and laugh for a minute and be like, give me a second here, buddy. All right, now I'll explain it to you.
My stupid question.
Bro, don't be,
But no, Milton will tell you though, like I mean, me and Milton now talk almost every day about stuff, and a lot of the questions and stuff, like I've taught him how to word his questions the right way. And I mean, I think you're getting a dramatically different response now on your files, right?
Oh yeah, completely. They just have no idea where to go with it.
And that's the best feeling when you
I mean,
stumble.
just ask
It just gets
questions. I mean,
passed. Yeah.
There's no stupid question. I mean, there's times that I'll sit there and I'll fucking call Andy. It's like 8 o'clock my time, 5 his. And I'll be like, dude, what is the line item for this? Like, I'm blanking. And all of a sudden Andy will be like, it's this. And I'm like, fuck yes, that's what it is. All right, let's go. But I
Well,
mean,
Mhm.
when you live in that system, dude, I mean, there's times where your brain just locks up and you're just like, fuck, I can't think of what this is. I'm tired of searching for it for 30 minutes. I'm calling somebody and asking for a lifeline. That's
Mhm.
what we should be to each other, though. That's why we have all this shit.
That's what we are.
All
Yeah.
of this should be used as a resource to each other to help each other and grow each other and build each other up.
And what's
I
funny
hate
is
people
Andy
who
can,
tear down people in fucking chats. I mean, Joe and I see that shit all the time. Somebody
there's
like
no good
asks a
reason.
question, somebody tears him down. It's like, dude, he's just trying to get help.
Yep.
Like what? Like what's the fuck me for? Like, can you not just help him? Well, let's not make fun of him. Be a part of the problem.
well, Andy,
better.
Andy,
That's code blue
better
right there.
code blue one right there. There you go,
There we go.
Andy.
Andy can attest
I'm
to
working,
this here
I'm
from
working.
being in the class and stuff. Like, I will ask him. I'm sure I asked some questions in Andy's class that Andy probably took a second. I was like, did Joe Spears really ask me? Like, I've been in enough classes. I know the questions that people get that they're either afraid to ask or they don't think about asking until after the class is over. And they're like, damn, I wish I would have asked this question. And
Yeah.
I'm notorious about asking those questions, and people, and like, I've had some people like message me before. They're like, I thought you knew your shit. Why are you asking that question? I'm like, because I know someone else would have had it.
Because
and
no
they didn't
one
want
else
it.
will. Because no one else will. That's what we gotta do. So all right. We're 3 minutes past. It's I think I started out a little bit slow, but man, it's built up some steam. Good conversation, fellas. Let's do it again next week, shall we? Oh, tomorrow, Joe, are you gonna be on that call with Verisk with me?
Yes.
Yeah.
so.
All right. Well, Joe and I will report next week on the round table with the
We've got
inner
the round
circle.
table for the Verisk. We've got next, they're coming up here soon. I posted in the group. The Encircle is going to do the
Encircle the end of the month.
reveal there.
I'm gonna make a call, man. I want early access. I don't want to wait
Well,
for the
fuck,
common
I'm gonna
folk.
tell the hover rep tomorrow. Her ass needs to get on the fucking Rebels roundtable.
Exactly. So, all right. Be good, y'all. Reach out. Like Zach said, we are here for each other. Make that happen. And you don't let a guy just sit there shy. Go over to him, introduce yourself, and help a guy out. So, all right.
Love your
Till
style,
next
man.
week.
Love your style.
Thank you, Lou. Take care, brother.